Hey guys, welcome to GCT, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Today's video is Sussy Sunday, where we try and find the truth. Creep learns to not ask girls for nudes. Our first story comes from the Petty Revenge subreddit, posted by Ann12. So, we'll call the creeper Kevin because he was an idiot, and this concerns my older sister, who we'll call Susan. Kevin lived across the street and was friends with my brother. His mum was friends with our mum, and we regularly babysat his little sister. I think it started when we went camping. We got him to come over to feed the cats and the fish, and to water the plants while we were gone. When we got back, Susan found that someone had been in her underwear drawer, and if I remember correctly, there was a pair missing, but we never really got any confirmation. Well, don't ask how, because I don't know. But Kevin had Susan's phone number, and he started asking for nudes. Susan showed our parents, and the way they saw it, there were two options. They could tell his mum, and we knew that she would absolutely kill him, or we could F with him a little. Susan chose that option. He asked for a hot pic. She sent him a picture of the stovetop with one of the burners turned on. He asked her for a nude. She sent a picture of an ankle. He wanted more explicit, so she obliged. She sent him a picture of a thigh in spandex. He wanted more, so she sent him a picture of a nipple. He didn't ask again, and we let that brew for about a week. Then we told his mother. She was ready to rip his head off, but then we told her what we actually did. We sent him the same pictures, but this time they weren't cropped. You see, dear reader, those weren't pictures of Susan. They were pictures of my bio dad. That thigh in spandex? That was his hairy thigh in these spandex boxer things he used for his back. And that nip pic the kid jerked off to was a hairy man nipple. His mum was howling with laughter. She did have a sit down with him. She told us that he wasn't disappearing to his room for a nap for a good long while, and his showers became much shorter. We're pretty sure he was traumatized for life, and he never asked my sister for another picture. Once he asked for a nude from a girl that Susan knew, but obviously, she told her friends about what happened. The friend just sent him the same zoomed-in nip pic. We never heard about him asking any other girls for pictures. My boyfriend is refusing to let me post our pregnancy announcement on social media. Is there something else going on? Our next story comes from the Relationship Advice subreddit, posted by a throwaway account. Me, 24 female, and my boyfriend, 25 male, have been together for just under 2 years. We celebrate our anniversary in December. A few months ago, we found out that I was pregnant. It wasn't planned, but I've always dreamed of becoming a mother, so I was very happy about it. He was also very excited about becoming a father when I told him the news. We told our parents and siblings after the first ultrasound at 8 weeks, and slowly began to tell our closest friends in the following weeks. Initially, when we discussed it, we agreed to post an announcement to all of our extended family and friends on Instagram after the first trimester, when it hit 13 weeks. The time came around and I began to suggest various ways of announcing it, planning what pictures to use, captions, etc. But he shut it down and said he thinks it's too early and it's better to wait until we find out the gender. Well, a month later, we found out that we're having a baby girl. Once again, I began the discussion of the announcement post, and once again, he shut it down and said that we should wait until halfway through the pregnancy. I questioned him on this, asking why he was so hesitant, and he couldn't give me an answer other than he doesn't think it's the right time. My Instagram account is private and followed only by friends and family I know. While his is public, he's a professional athlete and he has thousands of followers that he doesn't know. I thought he may have concerns over his private life mixing with his public life, so I suggested we only post the announcement on my account, as most of his friends follow me anyway, and he can tell his extended family individually. He said he didn't care about that, but wouldn't elaborate on why he doesn't want me to post about our pregnancy. In the meantime, I noticed he changed the captions of some of his Instagram posts with me in them to remove any indication of how long we've been together. For example, last year, he posted a lovely post celebrating our 1-year anniversary, and I noticed that he changed the caption a couple days ago to remove any reference to an anniversary or that we'd been together for 1 year. I'm wondering if he's feeling insecure about how early on in the relationship we're pregnant and is having doubts over the pregnancy, or if there's someone we both know that he doesn't want to see the post. Has anyone else been in this situation before? Should I be worried or concerned? Edit. He comes back from traveling tomorrow morning. I'll ask him about the caption, but I'll also post on my own private account for my friends and family to see. I can't see why he should have any problem with that. And if he refuses to tell me why he doesn't want me to post, then I can't see why it should stop me. Update. My boyfriend got home at 6 AM the next morning. I was going to let him sleep before confronting him about it, but this has been keeping me up all night and I just needed to get an answer. The consensus on here is that he's cheating on me, or was cheating on me, and is trying to cover up his tracks. And honestly, setting aside my biases and trying to think rationally about all of this, that definitely seemed like the most likely scenario in my head. I asked him why he changed the caption. He was dismissive and tried to brush it off, initially saying something along the lines of, it wasn't a big deal and he just thought the new wording sounded better and to let him go to sleep. I snapped and told him that made no sense and then accused him of seeing someone else. His demeanor changed and he suddenly became very attentive to the conversation. He vehemently denied ever cheating on me. He immediately gave me his phone and laptop bag and told me to look through whatever I wanted to and that he had nothing to hide. I then confronted him again about the caption and why he didn't want to post the pregnancy announcement. I figured he'd finally explain it all to me if he really wanted to prove that he wasn't cheating. I was right. He caved a lot sooner than I thought he would and started to explain to me his side of things. Basically, the story he gave me goes something like this. Shortly before I hit 13 weeks, he went out with his teammate and best friend Jay, and some of Jay's friends who'd come over to visit from their hometown. My boyfriend had met these guys a couple of times before, but wasn't close to them. He was planning on telling Jay the news when everyone else had left and was excited about it. But somewhere in the conversation, they stumbled across the topic of fatherhood and essentially agreed that having a kid before you're 35 would ruin your life and be a burden. My boyfriend apparently spoke up about how he thought being a dad would be fun and how he thinks he'd like to be a father in the near future. This allegedly turned into a roasting session where they'd all take turns ripping into my boyfriend about how he'd be an awful father, that it wouldn't suit him at all, and how they'd feel sorry for any kid he had in the future. It was supposed to be some lighthearted banter between friends, poking fun at my boyfriend's intelligence and maturity. But it really upset him, and obviously, he didn't end up telling Jay the news. He said he didn't want to post about it because he was worried that Jay and his other teammates would have the same reaction to him being a father, and he didn't want something that he was really excited about to be ruined for him. He said the caption change was for the same reason. He was worried that even if they were happy for him, they'd still find something to rip into him about once they realized I'd gotten pregnant so early into the relationship. He said they wouldn't have paid enough attention to remember when we actually got together, so he changed the caption to make it more ambiguous and to somewhat suggest that we'd been together for longer than a year. It's also worth noting that he'd told me before today that his teammates already knew the news, and I hadn't questioned this as I saw no need to. I asked why he didn't tell me this before, if it was true. He said he was embarrassed about it all and felt like he was being overly sensitive to their comments since their relationship as teammates was built on a lot of banter and ripping into each other was pretty normal for them. He also didn't want me to think that he was having any doubts about the baby or the relationship because that was not the case. During this whole conversation, he was visibly upset and trying to hold back tears. He seemed very genuine with his explanation, and there are a few details that back it up. As I mentioned, Jay was his best friend, and they would go out for drinks at least twice a week, but in the last month, he didn't see him at all outside of work and stayed home for the majority of the time when he didn't have to travel. I thought it had to do with me being pregnant and wanting to spend more time with me, but it may also be that he's been avoiding his friend because it still hurt. I also remember the night that he was supposed to tell his teammates the news. He had been giddy with excitement beforehand, but when he came home, I asked him how it went and he said something like, yeah, it went alright, but he was too tired to elaborate and went to go to sleep. I've looked through his phone and emails and found nothing incriminating. I can't rule out any infidelity for certain, but deep down, my gut and my mind say to believe him. He's asked me countless times what he can do to prove that he hasn't cheated and is intent on proving that he's faithful. This includes getting tested for STDs and agreeing to do a joint post on both of our Instagram accounts to announce our baby girl to all of his friends and followers. I guess I'll never know for sure, but I'm choosing to believe my boyfriend and focus on our relationship and our baby girl. Am I the a-hole if I move out without telling my wife? Posted by InColor331. After 15 years, my wife, 39 female, told me, 37 female, that she wants a divorce, but doesn't think it's necessary for me to move out. For most of our relationship, I've shouldered the bulk of our living expenses. After years of being in and out of work, she finally found a steady job in 2021. However, her contribution to the household has still been sparse. She's only responsible for the rent, which I found out recently doesn't always get paid on time or in full. Everything else, utilities, insurance, groceries, phone, car, etc. are on me. When we first got together, she had a good job, but shortly after we started living together, things changed. She decided that she wasn't fulfilled by her chosen career and wanted to pursue art, which I encouraged and supported because I loved her and wanted her to be happy. Thus, it put me in the position of being the only one with a steady income for the last decade. It hasn't always been easy, especially during the pandemic, but I've always kept us afloat, while she's remained carefree and unencumbered. I've also raised my stepchildren, twins 22, who still live with us and aren't currently working or in school. However, now that she wants a divorce, I don't think it's fair for me to stay and continue taking care of a household of adults. Plus, being in the house is painful for me, which she thinks I'll get past once I find my peace. Her argument is that she travels a lot now, so me moving isn't a big deal, because she can just sleep on the couch when she comes home, and I'm still her best friend. But I believe her reasons are more likely that she knows that she can't take care of the bills on her own and wants to keep me around so that she can keep living off my salary. So, am I the a-hole if I start looking for my own place without telling her? Yikes, no! Drop that leech! You're spot on. She only wants you around to pay the bills, and you deserve so much better than that. Remember, I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.